Hello, YouTube. I'm missing my teeth. All right. I'm normally not one for conspiracy theories, but several things have been happening which, if I was one of those conspiracy theorists, then I would believe that things are happening right now on purpose. Just had some coincidental things happen that are making me question everything. Now, with regards to COVID, I do believe that is real. One of my coworkers lost their parents, and I know some people around are getting sick, including some of my coworkers. So whatever it is, that is real. But the other stuff, I just had an incident where my phone, my Android phone, forced an update. About a day or two ago, it told me that this morning at 9:30. Hey Kevin, how's it going? Hello Van Life. I'm going to be watching your chats because I want to talk to you guys about this because this is like kind of freaking me out a little bit. But about 2 days ago, my phone notified me that it was going to do an auto update. It was going to update itself regardless at a certain time. And then when it did the update, it said that it wanted to turn on, or is turning on, location tracking. And then not only did it say it turned on location tracking, yet let me look at it, and it has been tracking me like forever. It knows every place I've been, how long I stayed, and in spots that it wasn't sure, it wants me to fill in the details. I'm like, what the? I can understand if you're running GPS, and it stored that entry because you did GPS. But not only that, it wants me to log on to like the phone, like Google or whatever. And when I hit a website or whatever, it says logging in as, because I wasn't logged in, it wants to track my account. It wants to track my Gmail. It knows that, if you have like different emails and Gmail accounts or whatever, or Google accounts, it knows all the accounts that are you. So regardless of what name or whatever you use, what email, it will know it's you. But not only that, it's turning it on automatically. And by itself, it just means that, well, your phone's been listening to you like forever. I know a lot of you have experienced it where you were talking about something and you weren't necessarily Googling it or looking for it, but it came up. And the next thing you know, advertising started coming up that was regarding that item that you were talking about. But then I just had an incident at Walmart today because I went in to buy some supplies and stuff, and now they're I've been using Walmart as my bank, so I could go to the self-checkout, and I could pay with my debit card and pull money out, so I would have some cash on hand. Well, you can't do that anymore. At least you can't do that at the self-checkout. Okay. I think you might still be able to, for now, do it in the cashier lines, because they're opening up cashier lines, a few cashier lines. But on the self-checkout, this is what I found. They will only allow you to do debit or credit card transactions with no cash back. And there's a lot of companies right now that are no longer accepting cash. And some people are like, well, they're trying to go cashless. No, they're trying to track your ass. With your debit card, they will know what you're buying and where, what your spending habits are, what kind of stuff you buy. They could already sort of track that, but the problem with it is, let's say you use cash. You can't really easily track cash. They can track your location and tell you went somewhere, but they can't tell if you bought anything or what you bought. With the debit card or credit card, they know exactly how much you spent, where you went, and if you spent any money or anything. And I don't know if this is used for like marketing and to target more ads at you or whatever, but what it has to do with is they're trying to track everything. So we are at the point right now, and I don't know if the timing, if it was coincidental with the COVID, and then they're saying there's a change shortage, there's a money shortage. which I think is a crock of never mind. But what do you guys think? I'm going to scroll through your messages and stuff. Van Life says location tracking is part of apps that run in the background. Yeah, all these new phones are tracking you, but not only that, after it did the install, it asked me if I wanted to install some new apps. And I'm like, I'm not installing any new apps. But I think it went ahead and installed a bunch of stuff already. And of course, the Google, what really shocked me was I decided to look at Google history. Okay? And Google had me everywhere. It knew where I was on what day, how long I stayed, how far I traveled, where I stopped. It knew everything. The only thing it didn't know was if I bought anything. Unless, of course, they link into a database with my debit card. But see, if I have cash, they can't tell. But with the debit, they could tell exactly what I spent on. And because a lot of places aren't taking cash anymore, what they're saying is legal American tender is worthless now. They won't accept it. They want you to have a debit card or a credit card. So if you don't have a debit card or a credit card, you don't exist and you can't buy anything. I asked the cashier at Walmart, I said, so what happens if you don't have a debit card? And he says, well, you have to go through the cashier because that option is still available. But soon that option will go away. That's what they're going to phase out. Then everybody will have to have a debit card. And I know some conspiracy people say they're going to put chips into people and start scanning you and stuff. You know, they're already tracking us right now with our Social Security, our driver's license, all this database. And some of the information is wrong right now, but they're getting more precise with the phone. The smartphones have GPS always turned on them, and they pretty much give them away for free. I know somebody commented on the quality of the pictures on this phone. This is a free phone. I didn't even have to pay for it. You know, they gave it to me as part of my phone service. But the trade-off is it has GPS, which is good in that it can help you find your location and find parks nearby and find things. But they're tracking you. That's the bad. So, you know, part of the whole thing with the van life and survival and all that stuff that I've been interested in is actually a plan to eventually go off-grid. But it looks like it may have to be moved up because they are getting very precise on the tracking and they've moved exponentially fast. It wasn't like a slow easing into it. It's like they had a world crisis, and I don't know if it was man-made, which I'm starting to begin to think maybe, possibly, maybe they released it. I would, you know, normally say it's not even real, but the fact is I've seen people who are sick or have it, you know somebody who has it or somebody in their family. So, because it just seems very fishy the way things are. With the mandate of no cash, only using debit card, and your phone doing an update. I don't know about everybody's phone. Mine did an update, and the update allowed it to track in detail and auto log in. It said it asked me if I wanted to sync. I said go ahead because they're already doing it anyways. But you know I gave up trying not to. But the point of it all is they're tracking everything. They're probably even listening to me right now and tracking what I'm talking about with you guys. I'm just looking here. Kevin, you didn't need to send me money, man. But thanks. Yeah, Maggie says Gmail is tracked anyways. They track everything. Technology is allowing them to track us, and we're using it. The only real way to become untracked is to give it up. You literally have to give up your smartphone and the internet. As long as you're connected, they are tracking you. You can think you're slick by making up, you know, a lot of people have fake names or aliases and stuff like that on social media and even on YouTube. They know who you are. They can even track your location. It's like, let's say you use multiple accounts and stuff, but they know that you're logging on from the same MAC address, you know, the same device address. It's not like impossible. It's like, and not only that, now they track you and list you as a person trying to hide. They throw up all sorts of flags. Kevin says, we talk about turning a cashless society. Well, that's what the thing is right now. It's not just that. I'm like becoming. I'm saying these conspiracy theorists. They tend to be off the wall and stuff, but some of what they're saying and stuff, you're seeing right now. It's not what they're saying. I mean, I think they're going overboard, but this is not random. The fact that the phone is mandating an update, and the update has to do with location tracking, and then they want you to track yourself for COVID or any other new diseases. They said the bubonic plague is back. So at this point right now, I do know that the world situation is real, and people have died, and a lot of people have died, and a lot of people are suffering right now, which I wish, wasn't so. It's like this terrible nightmare that won't end. And, some people don't believe in the mask because they say that wearing the mask makes them weak, or this is all fake and all that. I'm like, look, put on the darn mask. Please. Put on the mask. Get this shit over with so we can deal with other stuff. But I don't even know if putting on the mask will help the bigger situation. The bigger situation isn't the pandemic. The bigger situation is the ability to be anonymous is going away. They know everything. I mean, they've always known. They've always known. It's like some people think that they're not known. The problem is, if you live in a society that has birth certificates, they gave you a number, a birth number, and then a social security number or other kind of government number that they use to track you. And then, you say, well, then I moved somewhere else and I had different things. Well, all those numbers are linked in some kind of master database. I know when I was in the military, it was kind of weird. When I was in the military, I know they track a lot of stuff. They had stuff on me from, I think, all the way from when I was born. I think they track you down to the moment you were born. They printed out this sheet when I was discharged that had a sheet listing of me, and it only had part of the listing. And I think I had there must have been more than 100 pages on me. I'm like, how the hell can you have, and this was like single space typed little lines of information. I'm like, how could you have more than 100 pages on Denoy? But they gave me a printout, and the printout had about 10 pages, but it was out of more than 100 pages. And that was when I was only 21 years old. It must be mega thick now. The thing is, it doesn't even have to be thick now. It's in a database, so they can just type in something and have all the relevant links come up to it. And I don't know what the purpose of all this tracking is. I know they're using it to advertise and stuff like that. I also see a lot of people being turned against one another because of politics and world events that are going on. I'm like, this is a way of controlling people. Because, you know that saying, united we stand, divided we fall? What's happening is we're becoming so divided. Nobody can even agree on whether or not to put one of these on, to protect one another. And people are killing each other over this. I think they've won. People don't trust each other anymore. What's interesting about this whole political thing is this. If you, and I know I'm going on to a touchy subject here, okay? And I know some people will get very angry and actually hate me. But regardless of whatever side you favor, what have they really done for you? What have they really done for you? And what are you doing for them? You're promoting them, you're promoting their cause, you're even hating family and friends, people who actually care about you, for some kind of political figure that you don't even know that could give a horse's butt about you. They don't even care about you. But that's the society we live in now, where people respond to memes, you know, little pictures with little text, and it doesn't even have to be true. I see also the misinformation and distorted information being passed to the memes, and people are passing them around even long after they've been disproven. But, you know, facts aren't relevant anymore. Like even with the whole Corvid thing, you got people contradicting experts. You know, we're talking about scientists and doctors and stuff who study this stuff. You got Joe Schmo, who's declaring himself smarter than the experts. And he makes a meme or whatever, or he follows a meme, and people follow that. I think as a society we are doomed when we no longer think. You know, we look at a picture with words on it, and then we respond to it without any processing at all. Just scrolling through here. But I don't know, do you guys think I'm crazy? I'm thinking that they're kicking off heavy-duty tracking right now. I'm trying to think of how I can untrack, and I can't untrack because of my situation. I have to connect to the internet now because there's some critical stuff that's going on that I have to have internet access. And even for my job, you know, for work. The internet is tied into my phone, so if I want to talk to my kids or anybody, I have to have it with me. I could try to go back to the old style phones, you know, the little flip phones, cellular phones without smartphone capability, but I bet you they don't sell them anymore. And even if they did sell them, I bet you they have GPS tracking on them. They just don't have a screen interface. They're tracking everything. Maggie says her ads change depending on who she talks to on the phone. It listens to the persons in the conversation. Yeah, it's gotten to the point where they not only listen, they can understand what you're talking about. So they even understand what this video is about. I'm streaming it, and I know they're watching. When I say they, it's a computer. And then it gets flagged if certain keywords get triggered. And I know this one might trigger a lot of keywords. Mo Bang. Hey, Timothy. Timothy says, yeah, I turn off my location all the time. Timothy, you know, just because you hit the button that says OFF, it's still tracking you, my brother. It's like, I can rig a switch, like see this switch? If it's electronic, like here, I hit the switch. Well, it doesn't come on because the battery's dead. But anyhow, when you hit a switch on and off, because it's not a physical switch anymore, it's a software switch. In other words, a bit, you know, a binary 1 or a 0 saying it's on or off. They can put it off and tell you it's off, but it's still on, my friend. So you hit no more tracking, delete all my history. You bought into their scheme, you know. They got you to believe that when you delete the history, that it really is gone. No, it's just gone to you. You can't see it anymore. But them, the powers that be, it's sitting because you're constantly connected to the internet. It's uploading all this shit. That's how come when you switch to a new phone, it's not even the phone itself anymore. You switch to a new phone, but because you're logging on to Google with the same account, it knows you. And even if you didn't log on with the same account, it tracks you, you know, like if you use a debit card, if you buy the same kind of stuff, it builds up like a digital DNA, a digital profile of you. So even when you make a fake account, fake name, fake different credit cards or whatever, it will still know you're the same person. Maybe it even listens in and does a voice analysis and can match voice. You know, they could do a voice DNA, a voice match. I know they have facial recognition. I can take my glasses off, I can wear sunshades, I can do whatever with my hair, I can color my hair, I can shave my head. It would still recognize me as who I am. That's how far the technology has come. It's scary. You can't turn it off. The only real way you can get rid of tracking is to get rid of the smartphone. But even cars nowadays, if you have a newer car, it may have smart features on it. Like if you have that OnStar or whatever the other services are, that connects to either satellite or possibly cellular. They could embed all sorts of technology, you know. My phone is so small and amazing, the battery stays live in it for like upwards of 10 or 12 hours if I don't like turn it on all day. And even if I turn it on, it seems like it lasts forever. I'm like, I don't know how they store that much power in it, you know. It's got live video and music streaming with the internet connection, and yet the battery doesn't run out. That's how advanced the technology has become. But they're tracking who you contact, what your relationship is with them. Like they will know all of you are my viewers. And some of you are connected as friends. They know all this. I'm just scrolling through here. Good to see you, Just Me. Van Life says he doesn't mind it because it utilizes a lot of the prediction. He utilizes a lot of predictions. Here's the scary part, Van Life. You're thinking that it's predicting you, what you want, what you need. I'm thinking that it could be programming you. If you say it's predicting and it knows what you want, maybe it's not predicting and knows what you want. It's been feeding you what you want, like telling you what you need, what you want, and now you're responding like a mindless zombie. I was watching some reactions from some friends. I won't name names and stuff due to the political nature of it and stuff. But some people on here that I think are highly intelligent, because I've seen them work on stuff and other projects, or just from conversing with them, I know they're highly, highly intelligent. But then on social media, I see them sharing memes that I'm like, this is like moronic to be sharing this, because this is a zombie share. You're just sharing it, or you're just copying and pasting stuff that shows that you can't even think for yourself. And then you say, but what they're telling me to copy and paste applies to me. No, you have been reprogrammed to respond to that copy and paste. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like making sure that somebody doesn't have food for the longest time, and then coming by and saying, we're having a cookout. Would you guys like to come? Of course people are going to go. They're starving. But they are not just tracking. I think they're programming. They're programming all of us. Just scrolling through here. Yeah, see, Maggie, Kira says that to Maggie. She says, we've been talking amongst ourselves about different things, not even on our phones. The next thing, we start seeing ads about that. We've been playing with it. See, you don't even have to be searching for it on the phone. As long as you have your phone, it's listening. And let's say you say, well, I don't have my phone. Maggie says, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to leave my phone at home. And then she hangs out with Timothy, and they start talking. Yet that tracking, the seeing eye will track Maggie and still know, because they have voice recognition. And they know that Maggie is an associate of Timothy through reading the emails and stuff. So even when you have gotten rid of your tracking devices, like you don't have it on you, they can still track you. And like I was trying to explain to Timothy, just because you turn off tracking doesn't mean it's really off. I'm willing to bet it's still on. They just turned it off for you. So now you no longer see what they see. It's like saying, I'm going to delete my history and then it'll go away like it never existed. No, it's still there. You just can't see it. Your interface no longer shows it. But on their end, they still have all that in the database. Mobank says, COVID-19 is real, but the closing down small businesses and no coins is pretty fishy. It's not just no coins. They're mandating debit cards, cashless society. They're getting rid of In God We Trust. on our coins and our tender in America. But not just in America. I suspect this is happening worldwide. Money is going to become worthless. Kevin says a VPN is a great option, but it isn't free and it can be slow. Kevin, I'm going to tell you something, okay? You know, people think that VPNs and all these anonymous sites and things like that can help you. I'm willing to bet they can still track that. You say, but you're making it harder for them. Well, they can still track you. I know some of the designers. There was a story. I think it was called like was it called the cuckoo's egg or whatever, the cuckoo's nest? I don't remember. There was a guy, that one of the guys who in the early days of internet, he tracked down some hackers that had hacked his college computer. They were going through the college computer and just looking at information, you know, hackers from overseas. And I think he was in America. And in those days, you know, hacking and all that was new. Tracking hacking and cybersecurity was all new. He would sit there and literally listen to the teletypes, because the teletypes would log, you know, when somebody logged on and stuff. And they were logging on as like a super user and getting access and moving around and trying to hide their trails and all that. But he would print out all their access, everything that they did, so he could track down the hackers and stuff. Well, I found out that years later, you know, the guy became famous because there was a big story about how he did it, and it seemed really primitive by today's standards, but that's how he did it back then, to track down these, consider them like spies, but they were like Russians or whatever, and they were just basically trying to collect information to extort, you know, to make money on. So they would say initially they were doing it for fun, out of curiosity, but, you know, potentially there was information that could be sold. Anyhow, that guy disappeared off the internet. And I found out that he disappeared because he kind of saw the future of the internet and how it could track and do all these things. And he decided to go into hiding. I'm noticing a lot of scientists and stuff like that are highly intelligent seem to be disappearing, either on purpose or just disappearing. So if I disappear, you know, it's like I don't understand what they're. Oh, it almost tried to stop my stream. It's almost like, I don't know why they're tracking everyone. That's a lot of people, a lot of information to track. Timothy says, every time you use your debit card, your location is logged in. And not only that, they know exactly what you bought. Hard wants to know if I'm still working. I'm going to say, you know, a lot of personal information I cannot release anymore because I haven't been broadcasting a lot. I haven't been sharing a lot of information because the trolls and haters have been causing a lot of havoc, not just on me, but the businesses and the people I associate and deal with. So all personal information has pretty much been removed. I'm no longer sharing a lot of stuff, personal stuff anymore, and it has to be done for safety. You know, I can't tell people anything anymore. There's a lot of stuff I would have loved to share with you guys, but I can't, because of safety. It got to the point where we had local stalkers potentially endangering my children and me and my family. So at this point right now, that's what is happening. That's why this channel has suddenly went kind of silent. You know, it's a danger. Faith Walker says the mask is part of an initiation into the occult. I don't know if the mask is so much that. I think that's a little bit on the conspiracy side. You know, the mask, I can see it protecting because it does block. You know, it is how doctors protect themselves not themselves, but the patients too, from their germs and stuff getting blown into them and stuff. I think everyone should wear the mask to try to get this COVID thing under control, because I do believe that that is medically has scientific merit, not just some BS or some occult thing. But I do believe that the way it went down and how it was handled by the government was seriously messed up, and it was used as a tool to divide and make people turn against one another. So instead of being the United States with united citizens, you have people really literally willing to kill somebody else at this point because their beliefs are different, because they think you should wear a mask or think you shouldn't wear a mask. They want to set off fireworks when it's illegal. It's gotten to the point where small little things are triggering people to kill. And I think it was programmed. I think that it's not random. Some people are saying, wow, these people have short tempers. I think they got programmed. Because I'm watching some highly intelligent friends sharing memes for hate, sharing memes that just show they're not even processing what they're sharing. And it's generating a lot of anger and a lot of hate. And I caught myself doing that too. Like right now, we got this whole thing that's generating a lot of anger and stuff right now in the state of Florida. I don't know if you know, our numbers are going up. People are dying left and right. I'm losing coworkers. I'm losing stuff, okay? Things are going bad. And the governor wants to open the schools, wants to force children like my kid back into a packed classroom with teachers and sit there all day. Meanwhile, remember, they're saying that it's still too dangerous to open up like movie theaters and sporting events. As a matter of fact, the school board cannot meet in public, cannot have the public in there because of COVID-19. It's too dangerous to have those people packed in that room for a couple hours. But it's okay to pack the students into a classroom 5 days a week for anywhere from 5 to 7 hours or 8 hours a day, every week. When the number of cases are going up, people are more infected than ever before. What happens if the children bring it home and kill off their parents? The point I'm trying to make is people in power are making decisions that seem to be anti-citizens, anti-people. And not only that, they're getting those people, the base that support them, to attack each other. It has me concerned. Just scrolling through, some people are stubborn to wear a mask in the stores. It's like these same people who won't wear a mask, okay, would be the same kind of people that would complain if somebody smoked a cigarette right in their face. Remember the cigarette smokers or the people who smoke cigarettes that had to be told to designate outside, and then later on it had to be far away from the building and all that? Eventually it got mandated because the people who didn't want the smoke in their face spoke up. It's the same with the mask issue. But this is really serious. It seems like if you get coronavirus, depending on whether or not you're strong enough to recover from it or not, your life could be over within 2 weeks. My coworker lost their parent in 10 days. From the time they got the symptoms, 10 days they were dead. 10 days. Maggie says she's been concerned because of hurricane season in Florida. You don't even know the half of it. It's crazy here. With facilities have kind of opened back up, but not really. I don't know if it's the same where you guys are. A lot of bathrooms in public places are still closed. They say it's out of service, out of order. And what it is they just don't want to clean it because it's a potential liability, because people are nasty and it's a great way to spread the virus. Resources are going to go away. Like some of you are back to the gyms. I don't know if they allow gyms to stay open anymore. I haven't even followed anymore. But like trying to take a shower at the gym is going to be very difficult. Um, Resources for van dwellers and RVers are going away. And more and more people are losing their homes. The banks have started to say, well, because the federal government is mandating it. Federal government is saying basically, all right, you're all unemployed, you all don't have money and stuff, but now remember that extension we gave you, we're going to stop it. So you have to pay or they're going to take your house away. So what's happening right now, I was reading on my Facebook and it was making me so sad. Some of my friends were saying banks are harassing them now, trying to get the money that they know they don't have. And I'm like, all these people are screwed. You're going to see a lot of people become homeless and try to move into RVs and vans. It's already started. I'm thinking of running my old videos. They'd all been removed. I removed like 90% of the content from this channel. I don't know if you guys could tell that. 90% of the channel content went away, but I may bring them all back, or most of them, because they might help people. The problem you're going to have is a lot of the rules have changed. You can't just park overnight anywhere anymore. You have to really, really be stealth. Even RV parking at Walmart, 99% of them are, it seems like, have stopped it. Places where I used to park the RV, they come in and knock. You cannot park here, sir. Now, usually I'll ask them where I can go park. If it's at Walmart, they say they don't know, but not there. If it's a cop, the cops at least usually point me someplace, but it's like another town, the next town over. And then you try to park there and hide. But you cannot be stealth anymore because they know what they're looking for, and there are more and more people losing their homes. And I suspect it's going to really kick in within the next 2 or 3 months. And the number of deaths is going to go way up because the number of infections have gone way up. Remember the 2 to 3 week window. So they're going to shut things back down again. I've already started to notice the toilet paper starting to run low. People have learned from the first time, so they're now stockpiling toilet papers, which to me is crazy, but that's what people are buying. The shelves are starting to go empty again at the supermarkets. Because I'm not the only one. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to realize that with the number of infections going up, this isn't down, this is up. Like 1,000 times more than it was when this shit started. That means if they shut down this time, it may be a long, long time. And some people were saying they wonder when things will go back to normal. I don't want to be the news breaker to you, but this might be normal. Yeah. I know a lot of people are listening to me and I'm saying, what the? This can't be normal. The world we're in right now might be the new normal. It's a sucky world, isn't it? But if we work together and don't let them divide and separate the people, but I don't know if it's too late. I listen and I see all the hate. I just listen. I had friends unfriend me because of the political crap that went back and forth and people calling names. I didn't even call them names, but a friend, called them a name and then they unfriended me. And this is a childhood friend. So I'm like, people are getting so hooked into the whole left wing versus right wing to the point where they've been brainwashed. You become a soldier of a side that doesn't even really give a shit about you. Those people don't know you. They don't care about you. You're just sheep. You're just a soldier. You're just one of the people that will go out and kill someone because they set off a firecracker. Or you're one of those people who will kill someone because they are asking you to wear a mask. They've done that. They've gotten into your brain and they've brainwashed it. That is the concern that I have right now. And the fact that the governor is wanting to put my child into a closed classroom when he says he himself and his staff will not sit in an office because they're afraid of spreading it. But they're going to put my kid in there. I basically told my son, because I have the messed up situation with my ex-wife, listen, your life's more important. If they want to hold you back in school, having them hold you back is better than having you dead. So I don't want my kid going to school, not in a classroom. I told him I tried to contact his mother. I'm getting a little personal again and stuff, but basically, I think e-learning, we have the technology and stuff to do that. Homeschooling, we could do that. I don't think it is safe right now to put a bunch of kids in a classroom. We've already had teachers dying left and right now. That's without the kids in the classroom. And then, this is a virus that's hard to detect, that apparently some of those people who aren't wearing masks, says it's not real, they're the ones spreading it. Because it's not affecting them. They're asymptomatic. I hope I'm not asymptomatic. I got tested. They said that it was negative. But several people where I work have been tested positive. But, people go out, people mix, and it's hard. And that could be one of the reasons for them doing the mandated. They're not even giving you a choice now. You have a choice. If you don't want to be tracked on the cell phones, the technology, your choice is get rid of it. But I'm willing to bet 99.9% of us right now listening to this broadcast cannot just get rid of our cell phones. We cannot. We depend on it for staying in contact with the people we care about, or for medical reasons, or for the technology of like GPS and tracking and things like that, or the convenience of surfing on the web, or getting information. We depend upon it now. We depend on the internet now, at least in Western society, we do. I do think that if I get my wish within the next couple of years, I will be one of those people who disappear. Hopefully by choice and not because the government has tracked me and listened to this conversation. Hey, Stinker Van, how's it going? Good to see Lizzie. I hope you're staying well. Faith Walker Todd says COVID-19 has never been documented to be the source of a death. 90% of those testing positive will never have symptoms. I'm just looking here. Stinker Van says he's going through waves of depression and loneliness. That's another problem that I see with this whole isolation thing, and even like my broadcast going off. I know I had a lot of viewers who like to tune in just because they like to hear my voice because they found it soothing for some reason. So I may try to start doing broadcasts again. Maybe just come on and share a little bit of time like this where we talk, just so that you don't feel alone and isolated, because even I myself feel somewhat alone. Honestly, nah, not really. I'm going to give you guys a little clue on what I've been doing. World of Warcraft. Yes, World of Warcraft. I have a bunch of low levels, and I park them at each of the starting zones, and I've been doing World PvP, that's player versus player. So if you log on to, I forget it's one of the free servers, Wrath of the Lich King. I can't remember the name of the server. It might be Luron. Maybe, no, I'll have to double check the name. It wasn't Luron. That was another server. But my characters are ranked. I have one that's a Master Sergeant, and one that's, what is it? First Sergeant. The Horde side is First Sergeant. The Alliance side is Master Sergeant. So I play both sides, and I have these low level, like level 6s. And I take them all the way to the new zone, which is like really hard to do. And some of them, like the Night Elf starting place. That's almost impossible to do, but I did it without any help. Himself, a level 6, traveling across the world. And then trying to figure out how to do the logistics of supply and stuff. But anyhow, maybe I'll share with you some of those videos and stuff. We'll do a stream and you can watch me play or whatever. But I know a lot of people don't really even listen to me, or they just let it run in the background and they chat on here, because it's a way of people meeting online, so you're not so alone, and sharing information, live information that might be useful. So I will probably try to do some more streams. The issue will be the data on the phone. It gets capped, and then I don't have internet access. What's crazy is, see, when I don't have internet access, I wonder if they can still track me. Just scrolling through your messages. Facewalker Todd says, if scientists are bought off, you would be crazy to believe them. They contradict themselves daily. It's not just the scientists, it's anyone with any sense. You know, if you put a shield up, it'll block something. And I know some of you say a virus will go through, you know, like let's say this piece of paper or whatever. A virus would go through this. Yeah, maybe, but my spit won't. You know, but it'll block some of it. You know, it doesn't have to be 100%, but it can reduce the distance that it travels. It can also reduce the contamination. Would you rather have food workers, you know, like the McDonald's employees or whatever? I know some of you say you don't eat McDonald's, but at McDonald's or whatever food place, would you rather have them wearing face masks and gloves while touching your food, or using their hands and then going to the bathroom and not washing it like they're supposed to, and then giving you like what is it, hepatitis? You know, that affects you for the rest of your life. So the point is, PPE, I guess it's called PPE, personal protection equipment, like this, okay? Whether or not it is 100% safe, it does block stuff. Like right now, I wear it at work when I work, you know, and sometimes I cough, and I just cough right into the mask. And what it does is it blows it right back at me. So whatever germs I have comes right back at me instead of all over the office, all over the table, all over whatever I'm nearby, you know. So that should reduce viruses and bacteria. And some of you say, well, they're so small, they travel all over, but they'd be confined to my face. They blow right back at me, and maybe a little bit will get out, but at least it won't shoot out 3 to 6 feet, you know, at somebody that I'm talking or standing next to. So if we both wore masks, we both reduce the chance of spreading stuff. And I know some people say, well, the scientists were saying that you should, you shouldn't, you should. I will say this. When the situation first started, they may have been concerned that people won't wear or take care of masks properly and stuff. But since it's been going on now for almost half a year, you can watch the locations like China and other places that got hit first in Europe, and they did wear masks. And they practiced social distancing. And they isolated, and they contact tracing and stuff. They did all the stuff that they're trying to get the United States to do now. The United States is being very stubborn. Those things work. Okay? Injecting yourself with chloride or disinfectant doesn't work. Don't do that. But trying to, there we go, get some light in here. Ah, my messy bed. Anyhow, we know what works and what doesn't now, because it's been around a little bit longer and people have gotten to see what works and what doesn't. I just say, please wear a mask. If you don't want to, I'm not going to kill you over it. But I wear a mask, not so much to protect me, but to try to protect other people, just in case I'm one of those people that may be asymptomatic. You know? And if you wear a mask and you're asymptomatic, then hopefully you won't spread it to me. And I still try to practice the social distancing. I try not to get in people's faces and stuff. I do have some concerns. I don't go totally crazy about it. Just to tell you some stuff that might make some people say, you know, he's a hypocrite. Kind of, but not really. I took my kid, I had my son this weekend, and I took him out to Andretti's. Mario Andretti, you know, the race car driver. They have like a little park where you could do baseball bat swinging and race cars and stuff. I took my kid there and let him play, but I made him wear his mask and stay away from big lines, you know, get in the line but stay back, and couldn't do laser tag, couldn't do the indoor stuff. I didn't want him playing video games inside. I didn't want him doing anything where it's a confined space with a bunch of people around. But I let him run around outside, even though, you know, you're touching a steering wheel that somebody could have coughed all over their hand and put coronavirus on it. You know, and I constantly told him to keep washing his hands and stuff. And There is a risk of infection when you go out. But as one of the viewers, or several viewers on here, have told me, they've been kind of depressed. It's depressing being under lockdown, under quarantine, like forever. There's like no end in sight, And I think you have to kind of weigh, balance between being under lockdown and being safe, but also doing stuff that makes you happy. You understand what I'm saying? I think doing stuff that makes you happy, if it's like going bowling, going fishing, doing whatever, if you want to do stuff that keeps you away from people, if you like that kind of stuff, like nature walks, the beach and stuff like that, as long as they're still open, you should do those. If you like activities that crowd you with a bunch of people, like bars and stuff, you might want to rethink that, okay? Because it's a health hazard. You could get sick, you could spread it to someone else, somebody could give it to you. So taking my son to a place like Andretti's, which is like a thrill park, is on the riskier side. It's similar to a bar, but he was outside in a race car, the little go-karts, so there's no one right next to him. And he did some rock climbing, so they were kind of spread out and stuff, but there is a risk, and I take responsibility knowing that I put my son at risk. But if I don't let my son do these kind of things, what's his life, And some people say, well, this will go away. I've come to the conclusion that maybe this is it. Maybe it's not going away. Maybe this is the new reality. You have to learn to adapt to it. Because as long as people aren't wearing masks and the stuff keeps spreading back and forth, this can go on forever. So you have to learn to live with it and take the risk where you can. You're trying to reduce risk, try not to put yourself in extreme risk, but at the same time finding an acceptable level. Even myself going out, like going shopping, is a risk. You got to go get food, right? I try to quickly grab the food and get the heck out of there. I wear my mask in there. I try to wash my hands afterwards, because you have to punch the stupid keys and stuff, even if you're using a card. So everything you do in life is a risk. Do you guys watch Mythbusters? That young Asian guy. Now I forgot his name. Darn it! I had his name and I forgot it. It's like tip of the tongue. That Asian guy. He was like 49 years old. Grant Tamahara, I think, died very suddenly last week from brain aneurysm. I think that's when a blood vessel busts open inside your brain. I don't know if it was related to Corvid or not, because Corvid has to do with clotting, so that could be partially related, or it's just a random event that happened. But it tells you that life is, can end at any moment, regardless of whether it's Corvid or getting hit by a drunk driver, or getting shot randomly by a guy who doesn't want to wear a mask, or, who wants to set off fireworks or whatever. You don't really know what's going to happen next. You can try to reduce your risk by avoiding those situations and those kind of people. That will help. But at the same time, you can't just put yourself into a little shoebox and never go out. Because then you're not even living. You're in a freaking box. So, you got to come up with a safe compromise. I know some people are very extreme. They say, well, I'm not going to wear a mask, so I'm going to have a party. Life's going to be over soon, so I'm going to have a big-ass party, and we're all going to get infected, and, either we live or we die. Well, that's pretty foolish. There's a high probability you're going to get sick or get somebody sick. You're going to spread it, okay? I wouldn't recommend anything like that, but I would recommend not getting to the point where you're afraid of everything. Scrolling through here. Hey, Matey, good to see you on here. Coach wants to know if people can track you by your IP address. Yes, your IP address shows where you're connecting from, but not only that, your device, whatever you use, has like a hardware number. It's like a MAC address. You know, they can track everything. Not only can they track this stuff, you know that they could even pinpoint exactly where you are from outer space. Like if the FBI or the CIA or the op forces, whatever they're called, the cyber ops or whatever, really wanted to hunt me down during this live stream, they could track me down right now to this exact spot where I'm sitting. Faith Walker Todd says, never in the history of this country have people been locked down in their houses ever. That's one of the problems, Faith Walker. You know, in other countries that suffered through life and death situations like World War II, where the Germans were blowing up England and stuff, the people had to lock down and had to turn off their lights. Can you imagine Americans? I refuse to turn off my lights. It is my right to light up the neighborhood so the Germans can blow us all to smithereens. That's the American way. You know, I don't know what to do about that. It's like, it's an American attitude that is very immature. And I know some people are going to get angry with me and stuff, but it's going to be the fall of America. It's going to wipe out this once great nation. A lot of the world is no longer looking to the United States as a leader. We are no longer the leader. We've fallen to the point where people now look at us and feel sad, you know. So we're at the point right now where we used to save people. We used to not only get infected, like bad shit would happen around the world. Bad stuff would happen around the world, and we, the United States, would be protected because we had the best technology, we had the experts, we had the people who knew how to prevent it from happening here. Then we would assemble a team and send them to help the foreigners. That's not what's happening now. You know, people are watching us from other countries right now and feeling sad for us. And I feel sad. I feel sad because I'm watching fellow Americans dying needlessly. It should not be happening. Maggie says, if you line a plastic bag with copper tape, you can shield your phone from tracking. Maggie, don't follow the stupid memes, okay? If you can connect onto the internet or make a phone call, they can track you. Think about it. How will it know to connect you unless it knows where you are and your location and your device? Don't be one of those people who mindlessly, somebody says, you know, if you get a tinfoil and you put it over your head and put it in a triangle and put the number 369 on there, it will protect you. Because those numbers have mystical powers. I saw it in a meme and Abraham Lincoln said it. And you know, Abraham Lincoln would not lie. Or was that George Washington? Who never tells a lie. What I'm saying is, don't believe stuff like that. That's utter bullshit that somebody's telling you that putting a piece of tape with copper or whatever in a bag will keep your phone from being tracked. Because in order for the phone to make the connection, here's how I'm gonna try to simplify, because you know I was a technology teacher and I'm a technologist and I'm used to be, still sort of am a programmer. But the way things connect on the internet, a device comes online and says, hey, everybody, here I am. This is my hardware and serial number, and this is the connection I'm going through. And then the cell tower or the satellite receiver or whatever you're connecting to, the internet, the IP that you're going through, the internet provider, whatever that you're using, they will actually take that information and broadcast it. And that's why it's easy for somebody to hack in, because it doesn't really know who it's broadcasting to unless it knows that address. It makes like a general announcement to tell everybody that it's there. And anyone that listens on the network or on the internet, or on the cyberspace, will hear your broadcast and say, hey, because your device comes on and says, hey, here I am, this is my IP, this is my whatever. And the device that wants to talk to you routes its messages to you because you announced who you are and where you're at. And if you say that the tape with the copper blocks that, then your phone won't connect to the internet. It won't connect to anyone. I can tell you one sure way to make sure that your phone doesn't get hacked. You take your phone and you lay it on the street and you take a hammer and you bash it to smithereens. Now, the chip might still be alive. You say, but the batteries, I don't... If I was designing a tracking device, I wouldn't have the tracking unit itself run off the battery for the phone. It would probably have its own stored power. So that even when the phone battery was off or dead, it still had power to track. Right? If you're designing a tracking device and you say, well, it should only track when the person has it turned on, you're an idiot. If I'm trying to track somebody, if I'm trying to track somebody, I would have the device constantly be on. You know, that interface that says on, off, or whatever, that's just for the user to look at. You know, it's not really an issue of it really being on or off. And as far as power and stuff like that, the phone itself has the battery, I tell you, they seem to last forever. But if I was trying to build a tracking device, I would put in a little auxiliary battery pack in it, in the unit itself. It's scrolling through here. Faith Walker says he was a conspiracy realist when it wasn't cool. Even now I don't think it's cool. You know, I think conspiracy theories and stuff like that, they tend to go off the deep end, but there's some truth in them. You know, and I had I don't know if you guys remember when I worked as a handyman, you know, at the mobile home park. My coworker, my boss, and some people would say he tells tall tales, but they were very real, or very convincing. He said he used to work like really high level stuff, like with the government. And the stuff he was talking about, you know, because I have some background in it, I'm like, it seems plausible that it could be, and it could be true. And the guy seemed pretty smart. So, some of these so-called theories might be true. And I have some theories myself, but I won't even say them because then people think I'm wacko. But I'm beginning to believe they might be true. And if they are indeed true, we're in deep shit because a lot of people apparently haven't realized it and will not realize it. And if I announce it, they want to kill me or whatever because I'm breaking their reality. You know, whatever they believe is being shattered. Lizzie says, in her opinion, the only way to be anonymous is not to use a cell phone and pay cash only for now. The big problem you're going to have is no matter if you use any banking service, any cell phone, touch tablet, any internet connectivity, it'll track you. But the other thing I hate to tell you right now, Lizzie, you walk to any store, they are tracking you because they have face recognition. You speak to anyone that has a cell phone. Let's say you don't have a cell phone, Lizzie, and you happen to stand next to Timothy who has his cell phone on. It'll hear your voice and it can track you through his phone. It knows that you're standing next to Timothy. Now, do you understand? They've given away these cell phones, the same one that I'm using to broadcast right now, for free. These are very high technology devices, and it's available for free because it's constantly watching and listening. Just scrolling through here. And to drive disposable cars, really the only real way I think you can, Lizzie, the only real way you can not be tracked is you got to go completely off grid and off the system. you have to become one of those people who don't exist. Just scrolling through here. Just scrolling through reading your comments here. Some of this stuff's interesting. Some people think I'm nuts. You know, they say I'm up here in the nut house. My mind is in a rut. My teacher thinks I'm crazy, but she's just over nuts. I'm just the same as you are, and I can prove it too. Oh, 6 and 6 makes 9, as ice grows on the vine. Oh, I'm guilty judge. I stole the fudge. And wasn't it just fine? Janice, stay safe. Have a good night. A good day, wherever you are. Just scrolling through here, looking at all the people checking in. I know we're missing a lot of people. Like I said, I think I'm... There was a guy parked next to me, screaming, because he could hear me broadcasting here. He was disagreeing with my my broadcast. I don't know if you heard him. I don't know if the phone was able to pick up that dude next to me, but he was literally screaming that my info was wrong. I messed up. I'm surprised he didn't pull out a gun and start shooting me through my window. But yeah, he was disagreeing with what I was saying. Farrah wants to know if I'm okay. I'm okay. And of course, we have the New World Order. Kira says in New Zealand, they are back to normal. There's no community transmission for over 2 months. And the majority of the population wanted lockdown masks and gloves because they have people of all those ages. It's not just New Zealand, it's other places that have done that with the mask and the social distancing and stuff. It should have been over within a month or two if we had all done that as a world. The problem is, you can't just halfway do it. You know, everybody has to do it, and it has to be done very strict and consistent. I would say if you did it within 3 weeks, that's it. It ends the spread. Well, Bang says he saw people wear masks in the car by themselves while driving. I think most of those people, they either didn't want to take it off because they're going somewhere like a drive-through. Like I do that when I go through a drive-through. I put my mask on. So you might see me, like if I'm not going anywhere, I'm going home, if you want to call it that, you know. I don't wear the mask. But if I know for a fact that I'm going to be going through a drive-through, wow, I'm losing a lot of light here. We're only working off the front light. I'll turn on the other one here, make it a little bit brighter. But if I know that I'm going to have to deal with the public or something in a minute, I will leave my mask on. So you might see me driving with my mask. I'm one of those people. But it's not like I'm an idiot or something. I'm just putting it on because I know that, you know, the next block I'm going to have to pull up to the window and deal with the fast food. Yeah, Kira says, we are watching the pandemonium around the world and just shaking our heads. Countries that have locked down, that all wore masks, had social distancing, and people had mutual respect for one another. They didn't try to kill someone because someone wanted to wear a mask or someone didn't want to wear a mask. Those countries are now, like, out of it. They can resume some normalcy, except they can't allow people from America and other places where the virus is still running rampant. You're getting to watch different attitudes and how it could wipe out a whole civilization. I look around at America and how we're behaving towards, well, how we behave towards other countries, but now how we behave towards ourselves. And I'm very much saddened because the United States could be wiping itself out right now, right before the rest of the world watching us. You know, we don't even need a wall. We're killing ourselves off. We won't have to worry about people wanting to come here. People don't want, right now, people don't want Americans going over there. I know that's hard to believe because, you know, normally the American dollar, you know, everyone wants the American dollar. But like right now, other countries I do not want Americans there. And I know some of you are saying, well, that's good. You know, we don't want them either. No, it's bad because it means that other countries see you as a less than a third world country. And they have the reason to do that because you don't even know how to take care of your own citizens. When I say you, I mean me. I'm American. I'm just scrolling through here. All right. So I know some of you have missed these broadcasts. I will try to do some more. The issue is, like, when I do these live streams, I use up a lot of data, and then they cut off my phone service. But I'll try to do some more broadcasts, maybe at least once a week, maybe twice a week, just so that people have a forum to chat and reconnect as friends. Because I know that a lot of you who are actually living in vans or isolated situations, this might be one of the few opportunities that you have to actually connect with one another and, you know, build that support network that we tried to get going with Pay It Forward. So we may do that. It won't be so much about me, although I may talk about subjects like this or my life and maybe even the RV repair. Like, I know some of you are curious what's going on with that. It had been on a lot of hold. There had been a lot of run issues, let me put it that way. But just a quick recap. I am sort of living in the RV, mostly using it as home base, and I am still working on repairing it, so you're going to get to see some of that. Some of the stuff, I guess we could say words of wisdom, what to do and what not to do on buying a used RV. So maybe we'll do an episode that talks about that when I get the RV up and running and I can show it to you, what it looks like now. But I might wait a little bit longer till it is more done. But I have been working on it. Maggie says we can boost our immunity, and she thinks that why don't we get info on boosting our immunity? The darker your skin, the less vitamin D you have. I think that boosting your immunity works to a certain extent. The problem is this. Let's say your immunity is boosted, but you carry it, and then you kill other people who aren't boosted. That's where the problem lies. If you get my child sick, and it doesn't affect him, and you bring him home and he kills his mom and his dad and everybody in the family, then who takes care of him? The state of Florida? Is that how it works? You can't boost immunity when it arbitrarily can wipe out anyone. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? I think that everyone can boost their own immunity to an extent, but if I have like poison gas, okay, and this gas is extremely deadly, and you say, well, I want to boost my immunity by inhaling it, there's a 99.999% chance you will die. To boost that immunity, you have to build up a resistance to it, which means getting a weaker form of it, which is what they try to do with the vaccine. You know, they're trying to, when they vaccinate you, they're trying to get a weaker form of it so that your body builds up some kind of immunity. The problem with this particular virus is it's apparently mutating so many times already, and there may never be a cure. The cure would be don't let it spread. And don't let it spread means wearing masks and stuff. So this might be an ongoing thing that people have to do all the time. That's why I was saying that this may be the world we live in now. Some people keep wanting things to go back to normal. This might be the new normal. And I know it seems depressing and stuff, but you know, those who can adapt will learn to live with this, and those who can't, well, it's going to suck. Just scrolling through here, I'm probably way behind you guys from looking at all this text here. It is like a bunch of thank you. I wanted to thank the administrators, the moderators, for removing all the trolls. Scrolling through here. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and put up the old videos, if nothing else for entertainment. Some of that video may actually be pertinent right now because there's a lot of people who may need it. Maggie says, most workers where I live are wearing their mask below their noses, which is useless. And indeed, you are correct. I've gone to some of the fast foods and I see them wearing like that. It makes me never want to go back to that same place again. And I sometimes wonder if I should take a picture and send it up to corporate. You know, if you're in a position where you're dealing with food and you're dealing with contact with other people, can you imagine a surgeon that decides he doesn't want to wear a mask and he wears it incorrectly while he's operating on you? Can you imagine that? That's what these people are doing. If I was their boss, I'd fire them right on the spot. I would make an example and say, hey, don't do this. You're fired. You know, my job right now, they have a policy that you have to wear the mask to even be in the building and all that. They're not super strict, but none of us go around wearing it incorrectly. Because we're not idiots. You don't want to wear the mask? Quit the job. Leave. It's mandated. You know, it's like when I was in the military, I don't want to wear the uniform. I don't like to wear the hat. Can you imagine that? In the military, I hated wearing my hat. I wore my hat. I hated my uniform. I wore my uniform. You know? So, I do what I need to for the work. And then, like, what I do in my own time at home, you know, I try to do, you know, as long as it complies, you know, doesn't disturb anyone else with the law and stuff like that. But if you're going to wear the mask, wear it correctly or don't wear it. And if you're going to mandate it for your company, like, and you're like a fast food place or whatever, and you have employees who refuse to wear it correctly, fire their ass. Scrolling through here. Sunny always. Good to see you back on here. Just scrolling through. All right, I'm seeing some old names, so it looks like a lot of people are finding us. So we'll probably go ahead and try to do these kind of broadcasts again. So look forward to them. They'll probably come on, I don't know what time, because it depends. In a month's time, my schedule will be a little bit more consistent, and I'll explain that later. Scrolling through here. Maggie says, thank you. The heat must be getting to you, Denoy. I know he knows what a Faraday cage is. You know, it's been hot here, but I've been running like 2 or 3 of these fans in the van. One of the upgrades that I've had that I really want to stress as far as power systems. By the way, what was wrong with Little Blue? My alternator was dead. So they replaced the cable, but that didn't fix it because the battery light was still low. So I had Marcelo test it again, and he said the alternator was not even charging at all. So I had to get a brand new alternator. That was another $200, but they installed it for free. And since then, Blue's been running again and charging systems back up. And, you know, alternators do die, and this vehicle, we use the alternator a lot. I use it to cook all the food and to run the fan. Look at that, how nice that is. Look at my hair. But that alternator is a lifeline. So very important to have a good alternator, working alternator, if you're in your vehicle. Oh, the light went off because I'm sitting here so long. There we go, and we're back on. Had to reset. See, the computer shuts off after a while. Shuts the light off. But anyhow, one of the best upgrades that was a surprise for me, because I didn't really think I needed it, was solar panels. Having solar panel on the roof really isn't that critical because you can recharge your house battery pack through the alternator while you're driving, you know, and charge the system up because you drive around. But it turns out that having a solar panel and a charge controller allows your battery to slow the charge down as the battery starts to top off, so you can get a maximum charge, like full charge, almost 14 volts. So like if it's a sunny day, which it's been in Florida for the most part, at night, when I go into night when it's getting dark, My battery is usually 13.8 to 14.1 volts. That's like almost overcharged. So I have more than enough power to run 3 batteries blowing right at me at night if I wanted to. I have 2 in here right now working. A third one's dead, so I'm going to replace that. But that is a lifeline. Having the battery fully charged so that it can run 3 whole fan units blowing on you is kind of critical. So I do recommend getting solar because of that. It'll allow you, when the sun goes down, to have a fully charged battery that's not only charged, but almost overcharged, maximum charge. Just scrolling through here. You know, I wonder how far behind I am. You guys are still talking about, is it Metallica? All right. All right. So some of you are trying to figure out what the ultimate plan is. Ultimately, if I get my dream, okay, I will more than likely move overseas. And part of that has to do with I guess part of it has to do with wanting to live. I know that, I know some people will get really angry at me, and some people who are objective will agree with me. America declares itself the land of the free. America takes pride in a thing called freedom. It is what we fight for. It is one of the ideals that we value as Americans. It is the reason for people not wanting to wear masks. Okay? The problem with America nowadays, from what I can see in the trend that it's going on, that I don't see it being reversible, because those in power and those who, they've made it so that they can't even be removed from power without a revolt. Okay? America is one of the least free countries in the world. It's not the worst country in the world. There are a lot of corrupt, very bad countries in the world. But I've lived around the world enough to know that in America, I don't have the freedom to do anything. They require a license, they require a permit, they require whatever. Whereas in other countries, you know, I potentially have the right still to just set up and build a house or whatever without jumping through hoops and paying off the right people and then going through all the whole process. And I say, well, it has to do with safety. It has to do with like civilization, American culture. You're right. But for me, I just want a simple life. You know, I'm getting a little bit older. I want to live my life and enjoy it without having to deal with the government constantly telling me what I can or cannot do, that I can or cannot save. In America, in a lot of places now, if you try to save water, if you try to catch rainwater, they put you in jail for that. If you have a house that's in the city and you decide to put up solar panels and so you can go off grid, they will make you take it down or actually try to take your house away from you, saying that you have to be gridded, it's not approved, it's not whatever. You have to go through the right channels, okay? It's an issue. You know, to build your own house, if you wanted to do an alternative house, like if you wanted to build one out of mud or whatever, you have to have approval by the city, by the council, by whatever. Whereas in a lot of other places around the world, they don't give a hoot. If you have your own land, they don't care what you do. So, you know, I'm looking to potentially move overseas to retire, and I may end up, depending on internet access, whether or not I truly want to disappear, I could end up totally disappearing, or I may broadcast from there just to show you what life is like in a simplified life. You know, one of the bigger issues I have is I am very much into technology. I like the internet. I like playing World of Warcraft. I like having a fan blowing on me. You know, I like having air conditioning. So wherever I go, I have to kind of balance whether or not I'll be able to get those services or not. those conveniences, or if I can do without them, or if I can make them happen. All right, I am going to go ahead and tune out. Sean wants to know what service I was in. I was in the United States Air Force. Yeah, you know, something interesting about the Air Force, and this is what a lot of people may or may not understand. I think I explained it before. I am originally from Thailand and was a Thai citizen. My father was an American soldier who was in Thailand to fight the Vietnam War. He was there for the Vietnam War, married my mom, adopted the children, and brought us all here. Just because you're adopted doesn't automatically make you a citizen, but it helps with the process of getting you to become what's called I hate the term, an alien, a naturalized alien. And I know some people don't even understand it. I know a lot of you here may understand, especially those of you who are military or are a little bit older. You go through a process to become what's called a naturalized alien. That means you're a legal resident here. Not illegal. Legal. You're legally allowed to be here because you went through the proper channels. So you can stay and live in America and still be a foreigner. You're called a resident alien. And you have a green card, okay? It's basically an ID card that says you are allowed to be here. and I know some people now don't seem to understand that there are such people as legal aliens and illegal aliens. And I have my own beliefs on that, but I won't get into that debate here. Maybe we'll do it for another day. But it causes a lot of anger and stuff. But, you know, because people get really adamant about these kind of things. And sometimes they do it and they're not even that educated. They don't really know the whole story, or they're so set on what they believe that they don't want to hear any counterpoints. But I was actually serving in the United States Air Force as a foreigner. I was in America long enough at the time that if I wanted to, I could apply for U.S. citizenship. My father, who was an American, my adopted father was American, he did not apply. He let me wait until I was old enough, an adult, to see if I wanted to become an American. And the reason for doing that was, you know, basically has to do with loyalty and stuff. If you become an American, then you're an American citizen, which means, you know, you're an American. You defend America. I was defending America as a foreigner. Okay, so I was in the United States Air Force as a Thai citizen. And what was interesting about it is the position that I was in, the job that I was in, had access to like secrets. You know, I had access to American secrets about America. And that's, you can't be a foreigner and have American secrets. It's very bad. And when I say secrets, I mean like when we're going to war and stuff, when the United States was going to blow up another country or do some stuff to another country, another leader, overthrow a leader or whatever, I was one of those people who knew about it in advance and had to prepare things in advance. You know, some of it had to do with, I was in public relations, so maybe some people might say propaganda specialist, but that's kind of what my job was. But I would get exposed to national secrets, and it became a problem. You can't have, by law, you can't have a foreigner having access to United States secret information. It's not allowed. So in my job, whenever they had these military briefings, like they were going to bomb, remember, what's his name? Remember Libya? What was his name? Gaddafi. Gaddafi? No, what was his name? I forget his name. Maybe it was Gaddafi. I can't remember his name now. The guy that was in charge of Libya. The United States helped put him into power and then decided we didn't like him and wanted to get him out. And he kept saying America was weaklings and stupid and weak and all that. And we blew the hell out of him. And he got really quiet afterwards. Because if we wanted to, we could have taken out the whole country. That's how strong America is or was. So, you know, I was involved in that campaign. But the thing about it is I would get access to all this secret information about what's going to happen, our forces and everything else. And I couldn't have access as a foreigner. So what happened was the military, my boss and them said to me, they said, Denoy, why don't you become a U.S. citizen? Because this is hard, you know. When they would have the briefings, they would get to the secret information, and then they would have me go into the other room. They had to stop the meeting, and then have me leave the room and go out where I couldn't hear anything. Then they would talk all the secret stuff. Then they would let me back in. The problem was this. I had to take the information from that briefing and remove all the secret information so that it could be released to the public, because I was the person who released it to the public. So when you hear the military announcements about us going to war and what happened and stuff, it was someone in public affairs that did that. Someone like me that did the job, that had to filter what was releasable and what wasn't, what would jeopardize the United States and our soldiers and our campaign, and what wouldn't. We would even decide what information we would release would be true and what would not be true. You know, that kind of stuff, because propaganda too played into it. But they ended up saying that I should become a U.S. citizen, and they really wanted me to become a U.S. citizen. And so I went ahead and applied. And here's what's interesting was I applied, and they didn't realize that I was in the military and in this position, and they had me in a queue, and it takes forever for them to process your paperwork without certain people in key positions pushing it. So long story short, we were going to war over Libya, not war, but raid on Libya. And they ended up saying, what the heck is taking so long? Because I was being exposed to all the secrets. So the Congressman, I'm trying to remember who it was. Was it Congressman Johns? I don't remember which congressman it was. The guy in Indiana ended up calling the immigration place and saying, hey, move him up. And I kid you not, in one day, they moved me up, and I went in and I got sworn in within that next week, and I became a U.S. citizen. So I kind of became a reluctant U.S. citizen. I know it's hard to believe, but, you know, I am loyal to the United States, which makes me a little upset with things that are happening right now. But I don't want to talk too much about politics here, because I know a lot of people here don't agree with me politically. But I have my own viewpoints. But essentially, I will defend the United States Constitution. It is the supreme law of this land. It is the law that was written, that was created by the founding fathers, saying that this is the United States and this is what we believe in. So those are the laws I try to defend, and even still defend now, but I see it being attacked right now by its own government, which doesn't make any sense. But those freedoms that people talk about being taken away, those are written in your Constitution, in our Constitution, because I'm American now too. But I'm actually debating whether or not I'll end up renouncing my citizenship. You know, I know a lot of people want to come to America and become American. I'm one of those people that is contemplating leaving America and not being American. So, don't know yet what's going to happen, or I may keep dual citizenship, because I still think America is one of the best countries in the world. You know, it's just kind of lost its focus and lost its light a little bit, and needs to recollect itself. But that's just my personal opinion. Just looking here. All right. Let's see. Cuddle says, enemies have invaded and are attempting to bring the nation down. Cuddles, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. You know, the best way to tear down an enemy, especially an enemy that's much more powerful than you, is from within. Once you get them from inside, you know, that's it. But anyhow, I do pray for the United States. I still do believe it is one of the best nations in the world. Americans are some of the nicest people, although lately on the news and what you see and how people are treating each other, it's hard to believe. I wish we could go back to what we were, or at least become better than what we ever were. I feel very sad at how I see Americans treating each other, all for these ideals on political, parties basically brainwashing the people and telling the people what to believe, what to hate, what to kill over. And people have forgotten things like being proud to be American and being the country that other countries aspire to be like. There's a reason a lot of foreigners wanted to come to America. Okay? They wanted to come here because America was the light of the world. Not just the United States, but the world. That little lamp that was held up by Lady Liberty wasn't just for Americans. It was for all the dreamers, all the people who can envision a better reality, a better tomorrow, a world or a country with ideals that see beyond itself. And I know right now, that's not how things are. So stay tuned. We will continue our broadcast. Probably not do the political talk so much because it is like, we're in a divided country right now. And I know a lot of people don't agree with me. It's just going to make people get angry for really no good reason because I love all of you, whether or not you agree with me. So until next time, everyone, please stay safe. God bless you all. Please try to wear a mask when you're out in public. If not it's not really for yourself, but for others, just out of respect for your fellow humans, and also for your safety, because I do believe masks do work. So until next time, everyone, take care. God bless you all. Please have a good night. Stay safe. We may do a series again, just showing a very rough build-up and everything on how to sustain the power systems and stuff, and little things that I've learned over the last 3 or 4 years being in this vehicle, and modifications that worked and those that didn't, and issues that arose, and how to detect what it might be. So take care, everyone. God bless you all. Please stay safe. Take care, everybody. I'm going to be, hey, East Coast, I'm going to be putting up some of the older videos. A lot of the old videos, they got removed because they weren't getting enough views, but they were also, I didn't think they were that useful, but now I'm thinking maybe people might find it useful because they kind of detailed how things went. They were like chronological. They became like vlogs. So you got to see things as they happen. Not necessarily the best way to do things or anything like that, but how it just sort of evolved and happened. Like how the battery system got built up. How we started off with a portable unit and then ended up building our own custom unit with, now I have dual battery packs. And now I have solar, which I was anti-solar. Well, not really anti, but I didn't think it was important to have. But I would say if you can afford it, get solar as a supplemental power, for emergencies. So we'll talk about that, and if you want to know, what my views are on surviving in a van or an RV or whatever, I'm doing that right now, so I'll be able to share with you my first-hand experiences. Take care, everyone. And if you want to see a little plug here for Timothy, more bang for your bucks. If you want to see a really nice minivan build, check out Timothy's channel. He built out a Sienna minivan that is designed to be easily removable, so it can convert back to like stock. And it is really nice. It has some really neat ideas, like how to handle the curtains so they don't go all over the place and give you a lot of privacy, as well as how to handle a bed system that basically is very flexible. So take care, everyone. God bless you all. Bye-bye now.